The Chellberg story reflects the history of many Swedish immigrants in the Duneland area. They were known throughout the local Swedish community and preserved their Swedish heritage. But over time, change came to the farm and the family. If not for efforts to preserve the Chellberg farm, its history and traditions may have been lost. Anders and Johanna Chellberg emigrated to America in 1863. After arriving in Boston, they took the train to Chicago, where they met Joel Wicker, son-in-law of Joseph Bailey. Wicker was developing Bailey land to sell cordwood to the railroad, and he needed farmers to clean out the brush and get the land prepared for planting. Anders was reportedly also a tailor and made clothes for the Bailey Howe family. But based on records from 1869 and later, he was a farmer by trade. The first property that Anders purchased was in 1869, south of Augsburg Lutheran Church. Later that year, he began buying into the land on which the Chellberg farm sits today, and by 1874, he owned 80 acres. The Chellbergs built a log house and a large barn on their new land. In December 1884, tragedy struck as their home burned down. Johanna was injured in the fire, but lived another 15 years. The family recovered from this massive loss, living in their barn until they could finish building their brick farmhouse, a house that still stands in the national park. The Chellbergs considered the Baileytown Swedish community an extension of their family. Area Swedes often visited and had meals with the family. It is believed that several even helped with building the new home. The Chellbergs were active in Augsburg Lutheran Church, and as more Swedes came to the area, Anders and Johanna offered them temporary shelter and helped them find work. The Chellbergs held on to their Swedish heritage through the years. They primarily spoke Swedish, and the surviving children, Carl and Emily, learned English in school. Johanna preserved the traditions of their homeland by celebrating festivities like Midsummer and the Santa Lucia celebration. The whole family participated in the daily workings of the farm. The main crop was grain until 1908, when the South Shore Railroad was completed and allowed for the farm to transition into dairy. By the 1950s, Carl and Hilda Chellberg, the third generation of Chellbergs in Duneland, had to find work away from the farm as it was no longer possible to live off the farm's proceeds. In 1972, the National Park Service bought the Chellberg farm, and it became a popular tourist site. The development of the railroads, highways, heavy industry, and the Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore largely disrupted the Swedish community in Baileytown. By 1980, the Swedish language was mostly gone, and non-Swedish families moved into the area. Most of the large Swedish farms were divided and sold, but some of the older families resisted selling their land for industry or for a national park. More than 150 years after Anders and Johanna began establishing their place in local history, the Chellberg farm may be the most identifiable Swedish heritage site in Duneland, and is one of the few remaining vestiges of Swedish immigrant home life in this area. It stands as a kind of monument to the thousands of Swedish immigrants who made Duneland their new home. Thank you for watching this video about Duneland's Swedish immigrants. For more videos about Duneland's history, visit the Westchester Public Library's YouTube channel.